Okay. So today I want to figure out that key map bug and hopefully do more, but that's the first thing we're going to work on. The key map bug, if you don't know, is basically if you hit control, it would panic. Um, Not a great user experience, right? So we've been working on getting a red test. So we're going to try to use some test-driven development, which means we're going to go write a failing test, and then we're going to make the test pass, and then we're going to refactor the shortcuts we were allowed to take because we were in green mode. Right now we're in red. We want a test that fails. This is a manual test that we just ran. We don't want manual tests. We want automatic tests. Looking at my Git status, which is short formed to this GS, I see that there's a new file, basebindingstest.go, and I think that's where I was working the other day. And so if you do a go test for base, it probably shouldn't have passed, right? Test binding for control. Yeah, so we're running in this test, and the test is passing. So I expected this test to fail because looking up control something from the game's keybind mapping panicked. So I tried to make like the smallest keybinds object that should exhibit the same symptom. But this test didn't panic. So this base.keybinds object here is just not sufficient enough to cause the problem. Okay. So just reading this here. Yeah. So perhaps I don't understand enough the actual failure. So I'm gonna try to run the app in a debugger, and I've got myself a little scrolled away makefile to help me run the debugger. So yeah, if I do make devhonts, it'll make a debug version, and in fact, if I do make dlv, it'll run the Golang debugger delve. So let's do that. So we run the process and we have to continue it. And we hit control. And so there's a panic, we couldn't look up the binding. Here's the key map that there is. We see extra debug messages here because the debug build is using different dependencies, namely the local ones on disk instead of the pinned versions from go.mod. But we've basically got the data that we couldn't look up. You know, we tried to look up by this, and we couldn't find it in here, so we freak out. So let's go look at the code that corresponds to that stuff. I think it's, well, let's look at the stack trace to know what file to go to. Glopgin. derived key, don't go. Yeah. So we're logging the key map. It's just a pain to actually try and understand what's in this thing just by looking at the printout of it. Let's copy it into a Vim buffer so that we can do Vim things to it. I'm going to set paste so that it doesn't try to add indentation and things. Usually I have a little scratch directory called home temp drop. Just a place to put temporary files. I could put them in like /temp, but then they disappear because that would be a temporary file system. I actually want to have a real file. Okay, and so then now that I've got this, I can maybe tell Vim that actually treat this as a Golang file, and then I was hoping to get better indentation, but so right now I'm looking at, okay, where do I want my new lines? I want a new line before opens parent open brace device, and that'll be good enough for now. So switch open parent open brace device for new line open brace device globally. Hey, nothing much, Diggs BTW. Just working on a Golang game. How you doing? Oops. So yeah, I'm looking into this this key map thing. I want to see what's actually in this mapping so that I can better understand why we can't look up something we expected to be in there. So we were looking up primary key type 1 index -1 index 49. And like, it's not there. Well, like, what is the shape of this thing? It's a map from key ID. Key ID is like this struct that's got the device and an index to a key, which is just something in some interface type. So the index that we were trying to look up was 49. And if we look at their like input mapping file, oh, there's no 49. I would have expected something in this enum to have the equal 49. Is 49 somewhere in ASCII? Yeah, has to be. So yeah, okay. So the primary key index was looking at like somebody hit like the 1 key on the keyboard. Now we have no mapping with index 49. Now the reason this is 49 is because in the application, if we look at keybinds file, there's this binding here. So somebody read this file, said, okay, we need to bind OS1. OS is just short form for control on Linux and Windows, or Alt on Mac. But you know, if you hit Control 1, it goes through the room editor. Okay. So if there's a binding for OS1, and we make the key map, and then we say see, this is not the test shouldn't say we're working on a control. We're working on a oh no, okay, so the test should send an OS event that is like, hey, I'm hitting control. We should see. Oh, here's an idea. Let's print out this this keybind, and then we can compare it to what we've already got. Testing keybind plus v. I don't want to be printing a key map. I want to be printing the bindings. Looks like font's not imported. And then let me get a new terminal open so that I can just run the tests in a dedicated spot. This is called a test haunts. So I want to go test./base. But I want to do it and print all the things. Where's my testing keybind? Oh, testing keybind. Okay. So there's a map, and it's test bind to OS +1. Okay. But over here we saw something different. Okay, hold on. It should be a map from key ID to key. Then over in Haunts land, we don't have that. We have a base.keybinds. So I need to find where we need to get the key map from Jin. We don't have a way to get it directly. Great. For debugging purposes, we can just add it, I think. Okay, okay, okay. Glop. So in input.go, there's this input struct. We're gonna say, by the way, there's a function that you can run on any input object called getKeyMap. Doesn't take any arguments, and it returns a map of key ID to key. And it just returns the key map, right? And so then from here, we ought to be able to say get the input object dot get key map. Okay, so this is not using the local what? Go test. There's a way to tell it to use the right mod file. Go help test. Mod file not defined. The test binary also accepts flags that control execution of tests. Build flags, go help build. Mod file, right? Go test mod file dev.go.mod. What does the make file look like? Okay, so that worked-ish. Testing with keymap. Device type 4, index 1, index, some derived key. Hey. Okay. Tooling problem. The completion engine I'm using, uCompleteMe, is gonna use go.mod and not dev.go.mod. Potential solutions: just make go.mod the dev.go.mod. And remember not to commit it. Another solution is teach YCM to look at not go.mod but dev.go.mod. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's better. I think it probably makes sense to Just a little confused here. Let's look at the, so I'm looking at this key map, and handling a control worked. And so if we look at this key map, handling a control didn't work. Question. When it crashes, what is the OS event that actually comes in? Because I'm assuming it in this test that it looks like somebody hit control. But maybe that's not what's happening. So let's verify that. Okay, so in glop, we can add some logging about what the OS event is. The panic happened in derived key.go, called from input.go line 530. The line numbers might be a bit wonky, but it's this line. Right now we have a glop event. And we have a event group. Let us log this. Inform deps. Event is mod plus v. I'm not too worried about the event group right now, but maybe I'll just put it anyways. Event group is, you know, maybe we'll look at it, maybe we won't, but it might be important. Let's find out. Event is no event. No event, no event, no event. What? Oh yeah, inform depths is like weird. Amount group timestamps calls. Ay 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 ay. Okay. Is mod plus v. Cause mod plus v. And group is mod plus v. I mean, maybe I should just use the debugger to do this, but this just makes more sense in my brain. So press key. The key K was 1, -1, and 157. Now 157, I do remember, is left control. Okay. And then These are like the aggregators that also have a thing called set press amount. Oh man. Okay, a key state. Set press amount. Tells this key that how much it was pressed at times. Yeah. Um, what a pain in the junk. KS.card press amount not 0 and KS.card press amount not amount. Then event.type is adjust. Otherwise, if it's send all non-zero. Man. Okay, let's look back at the failing case, right? We had somebody was looking up this like control 1. They're looking up the 1 first. Who passed that in? Who passed in a key that represents 1? I mean, it's got the modifier, which is left control. Who came up with like the 1? That's crazy. You shouldn't have known anything about the 1 key. Okay. So main.go 287. Sys.think. Okay, didn't pass it in here. Okay, and then from here we went to input.go 594. But again, the lines numbers are out of whack. Sorry, wait a second. Sys.think called what? It's a system.system. Think. Okay, I missed a step. System.go, line 106. Yeah, okay. Okay. Wait a minute. Like, there couldn't be a 1 in this thing. Right? Film to printf events that I dot key ID. Okay. Now, did I get the events at I printing? Should have. Okay, key map is this. Then we panic. Yeah, events at I dot key ID left control. And then we hit craziness. I should have did a mod D and then, you know, put in the indice. We can do it again. Yeah, there's only one. Events at 0. And so we go into gn in.think. And so here we have a list of OS events. It's a length of 1. Depose. I don't know what depose means, but we definitely hit here, and then we print every ID to deps. And for each thing, there's a raw key press. Yeah. Very good. So we say input dot press the key. And we get the key for the key ID. Are we in press key or are we in get key when we panic? We're in press key. So get key returned something. Okay. Oh, I should set a breakpoint here. Break on main.go line 209. Yes, please set a suspended breakpoint. Run the thing again. Continue. Crash. Alright. So it hit our breakpoint. Lovely. So if I go up the stack, For every general key in the range of general keys. Do what now? So with somebody called press key. Somebody called... What frame are we in? Why isn't it... Frame 6, right? Press key. Sorry. What the heck? I don't understand a why here, but I think I understand what. So we do a press key. The first press key has a key of $157. Has left control. Right? Okay. But then we get into here, and we're like... We get this key ID dot index is 157. What is any key? 0. So it's not equal to any key. The device type any is a 0, and this is also true. Device type derived is not device type keyboard, and device dot index this is an awful expression, and it's just so opaque. So the device index was 0, and device index any is -1. Okay, so we get in here, and we say, you know, there's some general keys. 5 general keys. We get the any key for this device. We get the any key for any device. We get the any key for any type of device. We get this keyed index for this type of device, but any such device, and we get the key for this key, any device, any index. If this is how they support on any key, I might have to vomit. I will be back. Alright. I'm never going to say that I've never written terrible code, but this is pretty terrible. But we're not here to make it not terrible, we're here to make it run. Okay. So we make this list, and then we call press key for each of them. Where are we here? We're on input.press key. All right. Pardon me? Unreadable empty OP stack. Do we have to like tell Golang to build a debuggable executable? Courage. Build mode. Go help build mode. Oh. No, we're not looking for that. Because we do want to make an executable. What if I search for debug? What if I search for symbols? What if I search for optimization? What if I search the internet? Golang, build binary for debugging. Man. So by this, the printing it should have worked. Okay. General key. Unreadable. Could not find lockless entry at therefore address this. Ugh. Well, that's not very helpful. Unreadable empty OP stack. What does that mean? Delve, debugger. Unreadable empty OP stack. Unreadable empty OP stack. GC flags. What are they saying here? When I build with the... In Emden with DAB, but was able to reproduce with CLI running the OV test. So we've been building the optimized / inline version. So output in the CLI is missing values. Delete version. 1.23. So not too much further ahead. I don't really care for how it doesn't tell you what frame you're in, um, unless you list. Okay, so we called press key with one of these things. Maybe we can find out what key it was. General derived key. Okay. Get key on an input takes a key ID, should return a key. If, you know, the ID is malformed, just explode. Alright, do we have a key in the key map for this thing? Is this the test we should write? Is this the test that would exhibit the behavior? You know, call get key on one of these like general derived keys? So get key flat is just a wrapper around get key that builds the key ID based on the parameters you give it. Fine. Get key we look it up in the key map. Now, we should, if we remember, we had our temp file. Bash glop, maybe. Oh, bin glop. Yeah. So here's the key map, right? We do a lookup for, say, any key, keyboard type, any keyboard. No, the keyboard. There's all these name me's in here. Gross. Man, oh man, oh man. So 0, -1, 157. 1, -1, 157. And 1, 0. So we have 1, 0, 1, -1, and 0, -1. I'm not crazy, like this doesn't make sense, right? So we look up by ID. So the first time through this loop, we look for this. Any key is key index 0. Index 0. What's the device.type? It's gonna be keyboard, right? P. Dot type. Device type keyboard. Okay. Which is a 1. Which means looking for 0, 1, of which there are none. Why would there be? So this lookup fails. So, index to family. This is not a map from key ID, it's a map from key index to the derived key family that it represents. Okay, at least it's empty. In before there's no rights to this map. So, index to family. ACK for index to family. (201) in derived key. Derived key family dot input dot index to family at the index is self. Bind derived key family. Monkey. I feel like we're just going down a rabbit hole here. Like, okay, so this key ID ends up being 0. Sorry. Because this is the key index. So, device type, device index. Device type keyboard and device index. Device index any. Yeah. Keyboard, any keyboard, left control. Okay. So somebody said get key flat of that, and then said, hey, input, press it. Now, what did get key flat do? It did get key on that ID, which looked at the key map. Now the key map is going to be asked for device type 1, index -1. So 1 minus 1. Yeah. And then the index should be 157. Listen. But I'm pretty sure it won't have happened before. Maybe index family hit, maybe it didn't. I'm gonna presume it didn't. If the ID index is any, which is false, or device type any, it's false, or device index any, this is true. If device type is device type any, it's false. And device index is device index any, it's false. Yeah, we didn't panic. Yeah. So the general derived key Okay, so for these general derived keys, they get passed into press key, and we look at it, and we're like, okay, well I guess we'll press this key, and we say inform depths. Okay. Oh my goodness. Take whatever device it was and then forget which of that type it was. ID depths. This is a rat's nest. This is so bad. So we're like, there's some things that might depend on it. So look up by the ID, find the depths, and then look up for any device by the index. Add that to the depths. So we've got a bunch of keys. Mini keys. And if it's not a derived device, is the general derived a derived device? Oh my god, I don't even know how to understand that. So, Mr. General Derived Key, when your key state, okay, has the ID. What ID? The same ID as why would get key change what's in the thing? Sadness. Much sadness. Gnashing of teeth. So, I don't understand where, like, if I hit the letter K, it's gonna understand to hit K. This just presses these, like, maybe a thing? Which is to say, set the press amount. Okay. DriveKey.go line 96 gets called. We're like getting the current press amount, which where in the heck did it get name finish round 0? Because of whatever happened to be in derived key bindings. Okay. No wonder this project failed. My god. So dk.bindings is a list of binding. There's one binding in it. Here it is. Index 116. Control T. That's probably a thing. Yes, it is. And there's a modifier. Which is almost certainly the control character, or key. Slice of key ID. There's only one. What's it is? 157. Yep, okay, cool. So then when you say bindings at 0, .cur press amount, we get a G in binding. Right? And then we say, hey, what's your current press amount, man? What's your current press amount? So we say, hey, global input object, is my modifier down? It is down, so we don't return 0. And we say, okay. Does your key map contain this, like, T thing? But by now, who even knows what the stinking key ID is? Is the T on any device that is a keyboard? One minus one. We're looking for a 116. But of course it's not here. It's not here because where did end turn go? Finish round. Where's finish round? Sadness. We need to make this make sense. Because right now it doesn't make sense. It is wild. My goodness. My goodness. I really feel like when you try to press a key, you shouldn't create 5 keys and press them instead. If any. No. Just no. And then this aggregator thing. What is up with you? Get key should not modify the input object. This is get key or make some kind of binding for the key and return it. We have all these things that aren't good. Okay. Need some quick break. If we're gonna make sense of this input thing, we're gonna have to write tests for it. So let's write some tests for it. Input test.go. I might try a different mix.
What in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus? What ruckus? I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus. Could you describe the ruckus, sir?
So these spec tests, do I add to them or do I get rid of them? I think that's a refactor question. Right now we're just here to write a test that fails. A simple test, and it fails. Let's test failure. T is a pointer to testing.t. I'm going to say t.fail. And we're going to say that should fail. Yay! Oh. Run the test. Okay. Yes, include testing. Okay. Hello, Mr. Input. We may need to... Let's write this in a different file. This file is using a good high-level approach of, import the package and only poke the public members. But I need some unit tests here because this input is very confusing. Input unit test.go. Yeah. Import testing. Func test for failable. T is a pointer to testing, not T. T fail. I think that test will fail. Oh, this is in package input. Pardon me, package gin. Usually I like gin, but this gin is just disgusting. Okay. So, the first thing I want to do is the simplest thing that doesn't work that should work. Okay. If I ask an input to make, and then I get key for a control, right? Get key. It shouldn't panic. And test hitting control. Test. Control does not panic. The test control key does not panic. Really, it's a test that press key, right? These are all private things. Test that press key, press key works for control key. Input object is just, you know, make it, and then require dot not nil input obj import github.com stretcher test require on tidy could not read username. What's the thing? Maybe it's that. Yep. 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 Okay. 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 Require is require.new on t. Make the object. Okay, that's gonna pass. I want a failing test. So input object dot press key control key 1. Event is like maybe I could just get key, but no, it's press that I want. It is the press. Key and event type. Just a no cause and just yeah. The key is a key. But that's an interface, isn't it? There's what are the man? I just wish I knew. Okay, key state. Is that like somebody that implements key? Has an ID. Right, okay. And then a key must string name ID set press amount. String name ID set person mount, and cursor. With send all non-zero. What? Somebody's calling send all non-zero on a key state. Like, what? Breathe. 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 See, a key state embeds an aggregator. Like, I guess. Not happy about this. Oh. This is just craziness. Absolutely wild. The boys of summer have gone. Ooh, that's terrible. This is terrible, and I hate it. I hate it very much. My god. It's a key state. key state needs what? An ID. Left control. Is it left control or any left control? Any left control. Mm. 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 Needs a name. Test key state. Any left control. A cursor. No. Yes, please. Aggregator. It shouldn't be nil, so I'm gonna make it not nil. Sorry, what? Oh, everything that implements key must also implement sub-aggregator, and everything that implements sub-aggregator. Oh. But a key state has an aggregator that implements sub-aggregator. Really trying to make this complicated, or like it just kind of happen? Holy smokes! Panic aggregator. A panic aggregator is an aggregator that panics. Var underscore typed as an aggregator is equal to address of a panic aggregator. Can't use that because it doesn't implement it. What is it supposed to implement? Go test. Cur press amount. Okay, so function on a pointer to a panic aggregator. We don't need to have a this to it. Cur press amount. Returns a float 64. Maybe we'll just use a base aggregator. I mean, I'm gonna use a panic aggregator because base aggregator is gonna die. It is. Oof. Oof. Like maybe I just have to learn all the lessons that they had to learn that caused them to add this complexity, but oh my god. It just don't make sense. or press count. Alright, this is what we're gonna do. Because let's face it, we're gonna have to implement all of this. We're gonna have to implement all of this. Right? Let's use Vim to fix our problem. Our problem is that the panic aggregator doesn't implement any of these, but we can make it. Alright, let's record a macro, bind it to the K buff or register. So panic aggregator needs to implement a method called think, returning a bool in float 64. So function pointer to a panic aggregator. Teach it how to think, but it's really like I am panic. Now, format that. Run the test. Okay. Test press key works for control key. Okay, so we've got a failing test. It might panic for the wrong reason. But is it a valid test? We say, does this return anything? No, it just does. Awesome. We make an input object and we make sure it's not nil. And we say, I don't care what your event group is, make a kind of key thing and press it. If anybody presses a left control, does it need to go to the aggregator? Probably. Right? Because we got a set press amount on it? Why does press key say that this key state needs to change? You know what? I think standard aggregator, eh? Standard gator. I think it's fair that using a panic aggregator shouldn't work. Do we want a test that says that? Do we want a test that says whenever we do input object.press on some key state that it triggers the aggregator somehow? No, we don't. But the aggregator is of our thing. hopefully goes away. So for now, we just want a test that should pass, but doesn't pass. So we're going to make a standard aggregator. We need to give it a base aggregator, which is what? Some key stats. Is there an example of someone making a standard aggregator somewhere? Like, the zero value for a standard aggregator looks to be usable. Let's try it. To do, add a test that the zero value for a standard aggregator is well formed, usable, whatever. Okay. Shouldn't have worked, but it worked. Yikes. In Haunt's Land. Right? P input. Press print the dep. It's a key state. I mean, it's a derived key that has a key state. What is informed depths about? Informed depths is like deal with the keys that are like collected with this key that we're deciding to press. But like, we didn't decide to press. We didn't decide. Okay, this key is a general derived key. It's not named anything because we generated it when we really shouldn't have been. has a standard aggregator. A nil cursor. Just a zero valued standard aggregator. Frame 5. We've already gone through. There's one of them flat keys. Oh man. Device type keyboard. So it's like the same device type. So it's either this, or this. Device index any. So either this or this. The index is 157. It's this right here. So I'm thinking like this like make function, right? It does a bunch of stuff. If this input object here, it's got all those bindings. It's got a binding for space, backspace, tab, return. Left shift, left control, right control. Does it have a binding for any either control? See, any left control is index left control device keyboard device index any. Key ID is copy any left control. Key ID dot device dot index is 1, and use this as key ID. My goodness. So they said press key, keyboard, number 1, the control. Cause, no event. Mm. 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 Yeah. What is press 0 to 1? Are you effing kidding me? Okay. There's only so much pain and torture I can take for so long. I need a break. Um, Today we learned that the input is messed up. It's like really bad. We might have to nuke it and just rewrite all of it, but that's not what's gonna happen right now. Bye bye.